You come into this world with one single breath of inhale, and you leave this world with one single breath of exhale. Now, in between those two breaths, you are breathing in and out all day, every day, throughout your lifetime, but are you conscious of it? Our guest today is Richard Plante, and he is the author of Real Strength Now. In his book, he reveals that controlled conscious breathing mixed with strength training exercises can increase your lifespan, fight off diseases, and even reverse the aging process. Now, I also couldn't believe when I read this part, but did you guys know that you could also lose weight by breathing correctly? I thought that was very interesting. And why don't we start there? How can someone lose weight by simply breathing?
Well, because I was about to come in with a joke. That was the end of the interview. My God, the plant exhaled and it was all over. Okay, so losing weight. Well, breath changes your metabolism.
Okay.
So you want to hyperventilate. You go into a state of fight or flight, which is upping the metabolism. Upping the metabolism burns blood sugar. So there is your weight loss. There's clinics in India where you sit for 6 weeks and do breath exercises. I also think you're on a fairly stringent diet. But between the two things, there's weight loss because breath, oxygen, is the fuel for metabolism. That's how it's done.
That's interesting. So what's the correct way in breathing? Can you show us?
Well,
Breathing,
the correct way.
Like,
all right,
no, not the correct way, because we breathe all the time.
The correct
but
way.
Show us a deep, what does a deep breath look like?
People, all right. First of all, the correct way is breathing through your nose. That's the most important thing. Not through your mouth. As people age, the breath generally rises from the lower abdomen to the upper chest. So a lot of people you watch walk down the street, particularly older people, they're chest breathers. If you want to go correct, well, there's no correct, but I would say the simple rule of breath is use your nose. First of all, it filters the air. Secondly, it does not release as much carbon dioxide. And carbon dioxide is the secret of breath, which we can talk about. Thirdly, it vibrates the paranasal sinuses, which create nitric oxide. As you're breathing in, that opens the pathways for the breath. The nose is your key to breathing. Nose breathing.
And breathing out through your mouth?
No, breathing out through your nose.
Oh, okay.
Too much carbon dioxide out through the mouth. Now, there's certain exercises, yogic exercises, where you, but that's an exercise. In normal day-to-day, hour-to-hour, minute-to-minute breath, it's nose breathing, including sleeping. I sleep with my mouth taped. Yes, if you entered my bedroom, it's this strange thing in the bed with, you know, wait a second, he's got tape across his mouth. It's the only way.
You really tape it?
Damn right, every night. Yeah, sometimes I forget in the morning. I get out and go to bed. I go to shave.
What happened?
I go to shave. I go, Jesus. Then it's hard to get off, and I rip my lips off. But yeah, I take my mouth shut at night. I've been doing it, and I remember. So years ago, there's a tennis academy in my town, and the guy who runs it was interested in me coming to talk to his players about breathing. And at that time, this is 15 years ago.
Yeah.
I was just getting into really nose breathing while I trained. And in my gym, I have a couple of bags I hit. So the guy was coming down to my house to talk to me about the thing. And he went by the gym. And well, at the time, I had masking tape across my face. I'm pounding on this bag. I see him look over. And he didn't stay for the meeting. I think he thought I was too strange. I was going to tape all the players' mouth shut, which would have been a good idea.
Wow. So it's very, very important to breathe through your nose.
I would say that's the most important thing.
Wow.
Nose breathing.
What happens if you breathe through your mouth, though?
Well, the air doesn't get filtered. It doesn't get warmed in the same way. You don't create the nitric oxide. And mouth breathing always leads to chest breathing. And the greatest muscle One of the greatest muscles in the body is the diaphragm, this thin sheet of muscle. It's like a dome. It goes down slightly and flattens when you breathe in. And if you're mouth breathing, you're not using your diaphragm properly. What happens if you don't use any muscle properly? It atrophies, it gets smaller, it gets...
You lose it.
Yeah, use it or lose it.
Yep.
And you said something about deep, and you went, no, that's not a deep breath. That's a lousy breath.
Oh.
I'm going to check your breathing mechanism.
Let's do it.
Let me get my stick. Let me get my breath stick. I'll prod you. A deep breath is a lower abdominal breath. And it doesn't even mean people go, oh, I'll inflate my lower abdomen like a balloon. Well, it does inflate, but you breathe right down into your groin. That's deep. There's a deep breath. Think you're breathing right down here with your nose. And you don't need much breath. People overbreathe. You don't need to take in a big gulp of oxygen. If we were to do a saturation test right now, which how much oxygen you've got in your blood and I got in mine, it's about the same, 95 to 99%. That doesn't mean a damn thing. Most people walking the streets have that. How much of that are you using, though? There's your secret of breathing. How do you use the oxygen that you intake with your nose breath? There's the key.
How do you use it?
I was waiting for that.
Okay.
I was waiting for that. I was leading. I thought, she's not going to ask me. All right. The secret is carbon dioxide. The, quote, waste gas. It's not a waste at all. For metabolism, carbon dioxide is created in the cells, right? I'm going to try not to be too technical. I've just read the most wonderful book. It's so technical, I have to read every page 3 times. So I'm going to try to be less technical. If we've got a fire burning down there and there's your fuel, we need to fuel the fire. You go, okay, oxygen, pump oxygen on the flames, we're going to burn. That oxygen is flowing through the blood all the time, 95 to 99%. It's in the blood, in the hemoglobin, a protein in the blood. It's bound to it. We breathe in, it's bound to the hemoglobin in the blood. It can't separate, though. That's why it just flows through your body and out your nose again. It's carbon dioxide that breaks the binding. So the more carbon dioxide we can tolerate, the greater intake of oxygen we have. So as carbon dioxide is your secret of breathing, learning to tolerate carbon dioxide. The better you are at carbon dioxide tolerance, the more efficient your breath is going to be.
So they work hand in hand.
Well, one can't.
Well,
you can't work without the other.
Right.
It's a wonderful. It's a necessary exchange. But say asthmatics, it's not they need oxygen. They're getting rid of carbon dioxide. The more carbon dioxide they get rid of, the less oxygen they can consume or use. So it becomes a vicious cycle. It's a vicious cycle with mouth breathers. Too much carbon dioxide goes out, oxygen's not coming in. So
that makes sense. That's why you get anxiety
when you
when you
tolerate carbon dioxide. There's your discipline, and then you become a more efficient. You need less breath. You don't need. Take a deep breath. You don't need that breath. Even after an event, you can train yourself to breathe very, very, very minimally. Your body's just there. Is enough intake of oxygen. If you have the carbon dioxide tolerance, you're going to use that. Am I making sense?
You are.
To you?
No, you are.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking about...
Sometimes this gets so damn technical. You go, wait a second, I lost him on that one. I lost him at CO2. I don't want to lose you at CO2.
I'm not... No, I was just
what
thinking...
highway was she on? CO2, sugar.
No, I'm thinking about the people like what you were saying earlier about people not having hyperventilating.
Yeah, it's a killer.
And that
too much carbon dioxide out, they can't take any air in.
They're not.
No, they can't absorb oxygen. Simple. It is that simple.
And that's how your diaphragm massages everything and like.
Diaphragm's connected to the heart.
Works, right.
There's a tendon. Diaphragm massages every organ beneath it. Your diaphragm is hugely important. And like any muscle, use it or lose it, and it really is that way.
So how do we remind ourselves to breathe better?
Become a conscious breather at least. God, look, people go, oh, I can't do it for an hour a day. Well, no, do it 3 minutes. And 3 minutes will turn into 5 minutes. And after a while, during the day, you'll become conscious, oh, I'm breathing. You'll be picking up a bag of groceries or opening the refrigerator, you go, oh, that was an inhale, that's an exhale. It happens over time. But you have to develop a practice, a breathing practice, Without the practice, it's just haphazard. Yeah, you can do it one day. Oh, that's an interesting book. Or, oh, I did that breath training with him online. No, you got to have a practice. And people misinterpret a practice as having to be long. Oh, God, I don't have an hour to sit. You can do a practice in 3 minutes, but it becomes 3 minutes that you do. Conscious breath. I mean, simple practice. Say we're going to burn. No, I'm not going to jump up. Don't worry. Although I was contemplating levitation. I thought that'll blow their minds as I rise off the chair. And that, apparently levitation, if it in fact exists, is a breathing practice, lightening your vibratory field enough that you're like, now look, I don't know I have not witnessed levitation. So nor have I levitated. That I'm aware of.
No, but after reading your book, I definitely sat some time, ahead and put some time ahead, and I was breathing, and it really became addicting.
It is because you've done a lot of it.
Well, yeah, but just the breathing really deeply, and it felt so good. And
all right, let's do it. Let's do 7 breaths.
Okay. Let's do 7
Here's
breaths.
a practice. You want to practice? Here comes a practice.
Let's do it.
7 breaths. Look, first of all, let's sit a little straighter. You want the spine to be in a good position so it's not. You think of the whole body as a conductor of the oxygen, of the breath, in and out. So you're going to relax your shoulders, you're going to relax your face, your forehead, relax your eyes, really relax your neck, because your carotid arteries are the superhighways to the brain. You want to oxygenate your brain. You put your tongue to the roof of your mouth, not touching the front teeth, but behind. Think of that as an electrical current, the whole body, and there is your connection. Connects you with a lot of nerves. You're going to breathe 7 breaths, and here's what you're going to mindful of. The air is going to be cool in and warm out, and you're going to count 7. This is a practice.
Okay.
It takes very little time, maybe a minute and 15 seconds. It's a practice. So now, just so you're relaxed, I join my fingers. It's all I think of an electrical circuit. I make sure where my feet are right now. My feet are crossed, but I feel them. Become conscious of your body. Become conscious of the blood through your veins. Become conscious of the beat of the heart. Now, I'll call them. In, and you're going to think cool. Out, warm. Tongue to the roof of the mouth, and you're only using your belly. You don't need the chest. So here we go. And here comes that helicopter. Anyway, let's do it anyway.
We're sorry, guys.
Despite the helicopter. I think he's connected somehow. He's doing it. Hold on. He's going to do circles. Yeah.
Just when we were going to start breathing.
No, he'll go around. You got it. All right. Stay with us. Relax, relax, relax. Totally relax. Even tell yourself, before we do, just go, relax. Now, on the in, tongue roof of the mouth. In the nose, cool, out warm. In, 1. Exhale, warm. Relax your shoulders. 2, in. Exhale. Exhale is a little longer than the inhale. 3. Cool. Out, warm. 4. Out. 5. 6. Lengthen the exhale. The secret is in the exhale. 7.
What happens in the exhale?
Don't talk to me now. Breathe. Now you got to do an extra breath. 1 more. Cool in. Long exhale out. Relax, relax. 1 more and tell yourself to relax as you exhale. Now just feel your body. Become aware of it. Awareness is 9/10 of every law. Awareness. Feel where the tension is. Wherever there's tension blocks the flow of breath or energy or chi or ki or prana. Tension blocks it. Take the tension out. Let's have another breath. Exhale long. All right. Long exhale slows the heart rate and triggers what's called the vagus nerve, which is in the back of the brain and the brain stem. The wandering nerve goes all the way down your body. The vagus nerve tells your heart to slow down, blood pressure to come down, and it tells you to relax. Relax deeper now. Take 1 more breath with me. Breathe in on, let's go. Breathe in on 4 counts. Breathe in. Out on 8. One more. In on 4. Out on 8. Now let that word relax play in your head. In on 4. Relax on 8. All right, you've just had a little chat. You can come back now. We don't want to lose you on that last one. You've just had a little chat with your body via your breath, because the long exhale is talking to your nervous system, your parasympathetic or your rest system. Your biggest nerve there is the wandering, the vagus nerve. So that long exhale is telling that vagus nerve, look what's happening. I need to relax. The vagus nerve is paying attention, taking the heart rate down, taking the blood pressure down, and that's how you talk to your body, through the breath. If you want to breathe like this, you're telling your body you're being chased by a mountain lion. Get the hell out of here. And it doesn't help. It doesn't keep you calm, and it doesn't give you endurance. It wears you out. Wears you out. That is endurance. There's your endurance. That's why I train when I do the strength training with breath. I see everybody in the gym, with their coffee or their chats in between sets.
Yeah.
You go, whoa, you're missing half. No, more than half, 9/10 of it. 9/10 of exercise is in restoration, recovery.
I couldn't believe that part.
Yeah, that's where it's at.
And you mentioned, so when you inhale, that's through your lifting phase? Because I've been working out.
You know how lucky you are, because I brought my sticks.
Okay, good.
And you're going to have what? Here. You get the beginner's stick. I'm going to show you one thing. Here's how I train.
Okay.
I believe in creating stress to relieve stress. What is the gym? It's a stress producer. You're doing weights, sets. It's stress on the body.
Yeah.
People go, I was in the gym 4 hours today and I'm going in 4 hours tomorrow. You go, yeah, right. And by the end of the week, you're going to be in bed or less strong than you are right now because you've never recovered from the stress. Put the stick out in front of you. We're going to do one thing. No, with your hands in. I'm a really nasty teacher. I'm very demanding and I have no patience.
Okay.
I'm working on my patience. Let me see if I can get my stick. Okay, put your stick out. All right, so here, all right, now. I want you to grip the stick with your thumb over your index and grip it, okay? Gripping alone is a stressor. That looks poor. Bring your knuckles down a little even, like they're fists, like you're punching, all right? Now, take a breath in with your nose. On the out breath, push the stick together. Push means like this. You're gonna create tension in your chest and in your anterior deltoids. Push harder. I'm watching you. You're not pushing hard. Now you're pushing hard. Now, breathe 4 or 5 times with the stress on. Keep pushing. You're breaking the stick. You've got to break the stick or you're going to die. Push. Come on. You're in
I don't want to break the stick.
You're not
I'm not going to break it.
If you can talk, you're not working. If you can talk,
okay.
you're not doing
Okay.
it. Let's go. 1. Push. Push it harder. 2. Push. Feel it in your chest. Look at my stick. It's wobbling. Come on. 3. 4. Come on. Now push. 5. Come on. No, you're bad. Now put the stick down. I'm taking your beginner stick. You're fired. All right, now. Go back into the meditation.
All right.
All right. You've got to be able to feel that you've just stressed here. You feel the deltoid and the line across here has been stressed. Now breathe in to the stress, oxygenate it because it's firing faster. It's metabolizing quicker. Relax on the out and let the stress go. That stress that we just created could have easily been created in a car. You're driving, holding the wheel, gripping it, somebody cuts you off. How long do you stay stressed? The rest of the day, that son of a bitch who cut me off, I wish I should have reported him. Or do you let it go? People don't let go of the stress. They hold.
We all do that, yeah.
So let's let it go right now. 3 breaths. As you release the stress that's in the muscles. The stick is a metaphor. It's just a stress creator.
No, it's crazy because you say release the stress. I think about where it is, and then is that how you do it? So you breathe through?
Well, I just showed you where it is because if you pushed hard enough, you're going to feel it. That's what I use these things for. Couple more. In. And breathe the air down so it's deep and out. And in. And out. Now feel the stress leaving the body as the body relaxes. Be aware of your body. Feel your heart coming down. Elongate the exhalation. Now put a tiny pause at the end of the exhalation. Exhale. Pause. Inhale. That pause also triggers the vagus nerve. Pause. Inhale. Exhale. Pause. And now just go back to talking to me.
I really love that. And so now when something pisses us off or if we get stressed out, we can breathe through our noses and we can just release the stress.
Yeah, you can if
that's amazing.
You can if you will. But when things stress us out, the last thing to remember is conscious breath.
Very true.
That's why you have a practice. That's why I did the stick. You go, okay, let me create some tension here. I'm creating some stress. The same as in a gym, we create stress, but people use it. I just have a different perspective of how to use strength training. It's a different perspective. I view it as stress, and I view the minute or 2 you take between sets as the release of stress. So I'm not wandering around talking, drinking, caffeinated stuff. You go, okay, there's my chance to release the stress I just created. And to me, that's the essence of strength training, both internal and external strength.
You mentioned you don't drink caffeine?
Well, I have 1 cup of coffee in the morning,
Okay.
but you know.
Not in between your workouts? You don't.
No, no. I've done all of it. I've tried it. There's an Argentinian drink called mate. It's highly caffeinated. Drink it out of a gourd. When I was in Argentina, between sets, they have a guy bringing you a gourd. So you're like totally hyped up, right? No, it's great. You do a lot of exercise. Your heart rate's going 1,000,000 miles an hour. But there's no release. There's no relief from it. It's just this, ah! As I aged and had to become more tempered with my training, I realized, and in my own gym, if I do a set of exercise, I then sit on my stool and do 1 minute of and see how far down I can come from it. Then I do the next set. I don't drink caffeine,
Right.
you know, because it wears the body out. Stress wears the body out. I mean, I can't remember who the scientist was, but he said every stressful situation adds this much illness or disease to the body and reduces the span of the life. And I mean, you go, oh God, I'm stressed every day, which we are, or I am, or you are, or whatever, at some point, even finding your way somewhere, you go, God, what if I'm late? So I always leave 10 hours early, but anyway, well, you're like, hi, I'm here. Yeah, well, it was tomorrow. I know, but I'll sleep in the car.
You gotta plan ahead.
Yeah, because of stress. Stress is the killer.
It's the root of all diseases,
Yeah.
right?
Well, yeah, 95% of, yeah.
And you mentioned in the book that you...
Oh, I've been autoimmune, yeah. In fact, I was just with a friend who's got an autoimmune thing. It's stress. It's stress.
And you healed yourself, right? Through the
I went to a
exercises.
doctor, but basically I walked around I have a swimming pool that's one depth. I am lucky enough to have this. I walked circles around it doing nose breathing. And if I needed to cry about anything in particular or nothing, I let the tears and it released it. And suddenly I couldn't move my hand above my head. I had a thing called polyrheumatica Malaysia or something like that. And it's in the shoulders, the neck, and the hips. I could not swim. And I remember the day I moved, walking, I thought I'm going to try it. It was like this great victorious day. I actually did a stroke. And that was the beginning of the healing. But the healing took place just walking and breathing, releasing this thing that had got a grip on me. But it doesn't have to be an autoimmune disease. Anything can have a grip on us. A breakup, a death, a birth, stress. And
we hold on to it for years.
Oh, come on. We've got stress in us that happened when mama didn't give you the bottle when you wanted it. And that's just the way of us. And as you said, it begins with the first breath. And so does stress.
Yeah.
As a baby, abandonment. I mean, there's all issues. You think you're alone, but you're not, because you're a human being.
Yeah, and it's interesting you mentioned with the breath, you become more emotional because I gotta tell you
I'm about to weep. Go ahead.
No, I gotta tell you my experience. So I did a yoga session, vinyasa, after reading your book, and I did the 4 counts of inhale. Mm-hmm. And I literally did the whole class of 4 counts, inhale, 4 count hold, and then 4 count exhale. And I was so focused in the counting that the class went by like I was in the moment the whole time. And I noticed towards the end when we do like when we lay down and do the stretching, I got really emotional. And I was is that because we're in the moment and we're breathing and we're more aware of our body? Because that was the first time I literally almost
because
cried.
What you did was what I did in the pool, walking around, breathing with the nose, and suddenly I'd be crying. You allowed your body to get into a state of restoration, and in that state it will release toxicity, and that can be mental toxin.
Yeah.
It'll release. And that's what we don't do. We don't do enough releasing. We do a lot of building up. It's like the muscle man, right? And you see him walking down the street like this. Right?
He's so weak
and you go,
inside.
wait a second. He's become tin. Could he throw a punch? Could he do a basketball? Could he swim? No, because he's like this. And that's like a physical, I speak in metaphor a lot, but that's like a physical example of what we carry mentally. This, I don't want to let that out. Well, you got to let it out.
You have to let it out.
You got to let it out. And the breath is the way to let it out.
You just feel so free.
The breath is doing the way you're doing Vinyasana 4, 4, and 4. So you're 4 in, the heart goes up a little bit. 4 out, the heart comes down a little bit. 4 pause, the vagus nerve gets triggered.
And it was the perfect amount to
4,
move
4, and
into
4.
the
You
next
can do it, and your vagus
pose.
nerve is triggered. Oh, he just wants to be in on it. He's got us on the headset. So, and he's never flown before, so this is important. He's a little stressed on how to land this thing. But, you know, you're working with your nervous system. Breath is your key to the nervous system. There's your key. Breathing. And that's why a practice is important, and that's why a practice should not be daunting. Like, oh God, I don't have 40 minutes today. Okay, then take 3. Sit for 3 minutes on the side of the bed and just go 1, 2, 3, 4 in, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 out. You can't do that. 2 in, 4 out. 3 breaths.
And you can practice that anywhere.
You can practice it driving a car.
Everywhere, yeah.
You know? Practice it anywhere. You're right. Simple.
Yeah.
No hyperventilating, no extremes, no a lot of the hypoxic stuff where it's breath holds, which are great, but probably not while you're driving or flying the helicopter. But yeah, you practice it anywhere.
Okay. So back to strength training, what exercises do you recommend that are the most beneficial as far as strength training?
Everything is either a push or a pull. You can train your body with 3 exercises: a squat, a push-up, and a pull-up. But you probably can't, most people can't do pull-ups.
No.
If you're in a gym, you've got a pull-down machine or a row machine, you've got a squat rack or a leg press, and you've got a chest press. You start with the bigger muscle groups. So you start with, say, the legs, then you go to the back, so there's your pull, then you go to the chest and your push. That's a very minimal routine, but there was a fabulous strength trainer named Arthur Jones who invented the Nautilus machinery, which was very in vogue in the 70s, so in the early 80s. He had 12 machines. His principle was 1 set till failure. You never did 2 sets. It's just 1 set to failure, you move to the next machine.
1 set meaning with a bunch of weights?
Yeah. As much as you could handle till you failed, say at 12 reps. Then you go to another machine. He said it was both a muscular and a cardiovascular workout. And at the end of the set, if you can't do another rep, you've hit your fast twitch muscle fiber. And there's no point in going further. There's no point in the second set because that fast twitch takes days to heal, days to come back. It has little tears, micro tears. So there's so many ways to train. I'd say you should be in and out of a gym in 20 minutes. You don't need more. It's fast, it's intense, and it also trains your heart. People who spend 3 or 4 hours in the gym, maybe they don't have anything else to do. Or they train in a way where they're taking time between sets. And I'm not going to put it down because if you're doing heavy weights, you might want 3 to 5 minutes between sets. But I'm more of the school of 1 set to failure, maybe 2, 1 set to warm up, the next one I go. I like to get out of there. I don't want to be in there too long.
No, it's about maximizing your time.
Yeah, and between sets,
Absolutely.
use the breath, practice your breathing to rest. Practice the breath.
Are you breathing while you're working
You're damn
out
right,
too?
it's conscious
Okay.
training. So
Gotcha.
I have a lot of different breath patterns that I use. There's the isometric where you're holding one, no movement in the joint or the muscle, 3 complete breaths, which usually will take you to 10 seconds. Then this position, then maybe that position. That's one of the ways I train. Or you can train the standard out breath, in breath. Pilates does it in reverse. They use, I don't want to get too technical. It doesn't matter. They reverse the breathing. There's a ton of breath exercises you could do while you train. But the point of doing any of them is to stay conscious because it'll avoid an injury. And it'll inroad to the muscle, the fiber of the muscle. You know, just get boom, 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 you missed half of it.
Absolutely.
You missed
I
because
agree.
you've got too much momentum.
I agree.
You got
Yeah.
momentum.
Okay, Richard, so we have to wrap up soon, but I have one last question for you. In the book, you talk about a lot of teachers that you had throughout your life. What was the best piece of advice that you were given from one of your teachers?
It may have been a boxing coach in England named Steve Heiser, and he didn't give it knowing what I know about breath now, because I know he didn't know. But I was on a coach's course. I was going to be an assistant boxing coach. I was in England in an amateur club. And he was one of the great coaches in all of England. And part of the thing was put me in the ring for three-minute rounds with some of the boys. And in I got, and I had done martial arts for years. And I knew about exhale when you make focus on the punch and this and that. But martial arts are different. The kind of karate that I did was quick, bang, one strike, and then you're into the next position for the next attack. Boxing's fluid. 3 minutes with someone trying to hit you, and even though the boys were not trying to really hurt me, was an eternity. The next 3 minutes, because he put 3 different guys in, got even worse. By the last 3 minutes, I thought, how does anybody survive this for 10 or 12 rounds? And I got out and he goes, look, one thing you got to learn to do is breathe through your nose. And I go, why? He said, because it gives you endurance. Besides that, you've got a gum shield, you get your jaw broken if you have your mouth open. That was almost 40 years ago or 30. And that, I thought, why through the nose? And that's actually why I started to refer. I thought, why through the nose? And I thought, oh, wow, there's your endurance. And then I started to watch boxers and listen as the commentator go, oh, his gum shield fell out, he's breathing through his mouth, he's in trouble. And I thought, wow, that means he's exhausted. I didn't get it. So that was one of the great, that was when I taped my mouth shut. I thought I'd start to hit a bag with my mouth taped shut. And I've had other great teachers who gave me great things, but that was the first time anybody ever said, you want to endure this? Do you want to be able to last? Learn to breathe through your nose. To me, I thought, well, that doesn't get enough air in. Because I think, oh, that's better. Well, you don't use it. Breathing through your nose, you use the oxygen you intake. As I said, carbon dioxide, you breathe this, too much carbon dioxide coming out. So I guess I got to credit Stevie Heiser for telling me to breathe through my nose. I never forgot it.
Amazing. And we're more aware. No, sorry.
Yeah, no. Well,
Amazing.
When you box, you better be aware.
Yeah.
You better have an awareness. Yeah, it helps. If you're in control of your breath, when you're panicked in there, you're just waiting to get knocked out.
Right.
Or hurt. You know, boxing, I know it's a primal sport. I mean, I like watching it if it's done well. But it's also another great metaphor for breath. Awareness. Self-contact, being conscious of the movement of the body. You take that and you can use it in the weight room. You could use it walking. I work with people with Parkinson's disease. Balance is an issue. One of the things is conscious breathing while you're walking consciously. Be conscious, less chance of an accident, less chance of falling over.
Absolutely. When you're not conscious and you're just like...
You've lost consciousness.
Mindlessly like moving or jerking around, you're just like...
Yeah, you've lost consciousness.
Yeah, and that's when you
that's when you
have an accident.
That's when you fall off a motorcycle, which I've done a couple of times.
Absolutely.
Both times, lost consciousness. Just driving along, looking at something else, bang.
Doing things mindlessly.
Yep, mindlessly, as opposed to mindfully.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so our time is up.
Time's
unfortunately. But we're gonna take you through one last breathing session.
One last thing, do with me.
Okay.
So I want you to this time do a 3-part breath, all through your nose. Okay. You breathe from here to here. Now you're going to take it all the way up to your chest. There is your breath, and then out. 7 of these with me. 1. Relax. 2. 3. 4. Let it out. 5. Release it. 6. Now at the end of 7, pause the breath. 7, out and no breath, hold. Relax inside the hold. Be aware. Feel the lightness. You don't need any air because you've blown out a lot of carbon dioxide. 10 more seconds. Now inhale slowly through the nose and fill it up like it's a vessel, right to the top. Expanding the ribs. Relax the shoulders and pause here. And now out slowly through the nose. And just take 3 lower belly breaths. And sense the calm. And there's your little practice.
And I got a lot of energy from that.
Well, that's because it's a little bit of hyperventilation. So you're oxygenating yourself. Oh, let's start the interview.
I know, I want to start now.
Yeah, sure. The breath's amazing, right? It turns you on, it turns you off. Turns you on.
Now
some of the stuff
so
I
much
do is like
energy.
put yourself to sleep. I love the, put myself to sleep breathing. No, it's wonderful. The deeper you go, the deeper
Amazing.
it is.
I love that.
Well, I love doing your interview. And thank you.
Thank you so much for coming in.
Real pleasure.
Thank you. All right, guys, I hope you learned a bunch of things. If not, just focus on your breathing and just try to be aware of it because it goes a long way. Thank you.